Allah says to Adam alaihissalaam, when he disobeyed Allah and Allah told him to descend, told the shaitan and Adam and Eve to descend. He said, now you descend to earth. Each one of you is enemy to the other. And the shaitan and his offspring and Adam and his offspring, you are enemies to each other. بعضكم لبعض عدو. Enemies to each other. فإما يأتينكم مني هدى, when the guidance comes from me to you, فمن اتبع هداي فلا يضل ولا يشقى. The one who chooses to follow my guidance will never go astray. Here is the key word for you. You don't want to be lost in this world. You want to know how to fulfill your ubudiyya to Allah, slavery to Allah. You want to be a family. You want to procreate. You want to do it. Then you follow the order of Allah, the way of Allah, according to the definition of Allah, according to the constitution of Allah, according to the manual of Allah. And if you do that, فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. You will not go astray and you will not be miserable in this dunya or in the hereafter. Because being astray in this dunya means misery in the hereafter. Misery also in the dunya. فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. Two things. You are not going to be miserable and you are not going to go astray. And misery, astray, they're attached. Across the board, you find people in the relationship, they're gonna stray and they're miserable. Why? Because the order of Allah is not fulfilled. But you say, we're talking about love and like, and it's like the order of Allah is not fulfilled. Why you live with someone that you don't love? Why you abuse someone? Why you live in an abusive relationship? Here you go. So always you will find that whoever having gone astray or having miserable experience is because they are away from the path of Allah. But how about the people who are in the path of Allah and they have cancer and they have problems? And who said that this is misery? This is a test and a trial. This is suffering and pain, but not necessarily misery. Misery can be with a person who has $1 billion, billions of dollars, but they're miserable. They're not satisfied. They don't have a God to worship. They are astray. Astray equals misery. We're not talking about what you have here or what you don't have. What you have or don't have is there are means. A person can be in jail, can be tortured, but he's happy from inside that they never compromise their principle. There is a certain enjoyment and happiness and tasty feeling that, nobody can enslave my heart. That in itself is a win and a victory. They will die happy. And another person who feels that they own the world, they have everything that money can buy, but they are alone, they're lonely. They know that everybody around them is because of their money. Nobody loves them for whatever they are. What is the worth? What is all this worth? So that's what Allah means. But فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. The one who follows my guidance, that's it. You are going to be comfortable with this relationship with Allah Azza wa Jalla. No misery. It's the difference between a person who has pain and a person who is miserable, right? وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي, and whoever will be heedless from my dhikr. أعرض, يعني he give his shoulders or he give his back, give the cold shoulder to or turned their back to the dhikr of Allah, the way of Allah. فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ, tight living. Somebody said, look at this person who does not even believe in God. What are you talking about, Sheikh? مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ? This is his tight life. He has a yacht and he's having jets and he's having all these fans and this man having all these women around, or this woman having all these men making sujood to her and they are under her feet and they have billions of dollars and all of that. What are you talking about? مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ? A very tight life. Because you misunderstood. You always interpret, talking to that person who misunderstood, you are interpreting that happiness equals having wealth, having the means. Why these people commit suicide, for example? These people, there are items that all their money cannot purchase. Cannot purchase. They can wish for a life of a person living in a hut in Africa or in the Amazon, and they barely have clothes over their body, and they are having their children around them and laughing, and they are happy. They want to purchase that with all of that money, but they can't. This is not a commodity for sale. That is what we're talking about. معيشة ضنكا. Every day, people in itself, the idea in itself that everybody is seeing how can I grab some of his wealth, in itself is misery. Waking up every day, how can I fight the government, or how can I, people who wanted to assassinate me, or people who wanted to take my money, or people who hate me. Just having that thought in itself is misery. I'm telling you, people who have all this money is not thinking about purchasing things. They think about owning things, owning people. You find that this person, billionaire, and the butler or the person who is serving them, having children who are successful in college, who's happy and everything, goes every night to his family and wonderful life in this small place. And he's not that happy. He has to provide on that level. He has to spend. He has hundreds of families to feed and hundreds of people to be responsible about, and hundreds of things, that competition in this business and that business, and their life is fading in front of their eyes. If they don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will have misery for sure. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي, the one who turns away from my dhikr, after the guidance came to them, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ, will have miserable life, وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى, and we will resurrect him in the day of judgment blind. قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. Ya Allah, why you resurrected me blind like this in the day of judgment, and I was able to see? Allah said, كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنسَى. That's exactly when our signs and verses came to you, our guidance came to you, and you ignored it, and you forgot it, and you turned away from it. Today we ignore you, forget you, we turn away from you. So that is the summary of this topic from the beginning to the end. I want you to be aware of that. Who are you, where you came from, and how Allah created this law of attraction, physical, sexual, and emotional, and how we utilize it, and be happy and proud of it, not hiding and stealing these emotions and going behind doors to do wrong things. No, we do it right, from the look, from the lowering of the gaze, from the touch, from the emotion, from the interaction, from all of that. We do it a certain way. Then once we have a family, there's a way to maintain it and a way to think about it. And now you're not selfish, and you're not alone, and you're responsible about them. And each member of the family identify as part of that unit. And marriage is the institution to maintain that unit. Okay? And our main goal is a hereafter, to go as a unit to the pleasure of Allah and to Jannah.